Good morning and welcome to our Easter Sunday morning reflections. Yes, it's Easter. It's hard to believe it, isn't it? Because so many of the normal things that we do for Easter we can't do. But it is Easter. And I want to say, He is risen. Hallelujah. He is risen. Because actually we can't say those words to ourselves or to one another enough, as the story we're going to explore today shows us. I invite you to join us, the us being two ladies, weary, desolate, and frightened, as they make their way from a house probably just outside Jerusalem, round the city walls, maybe through some of the dark, daunting streets, to find the tomb of Jesus. I hope you've read the reading for today, Matthew 28, verses 1 to 10. If not, please pause and read it for yourself. But there Matthew tells us that the two Marys, Mary Magdalene and another Mary, were on their way looking for the tomb. What sad words they are, aren't they? Looking for the tomb. They were journeying through the darkness that was giving way to a new day. And all they could do was go to look for the tomb. Because they were overwhelmed with the reality of Christ's cruel death. John's Gospel tells us that Mary Magdalene and Mary Cleopas were with the mother of Jesus at the cross. They'd stood there. They'd seen him nailed. They'd seen him struggle. They'd seen him die. And then they'd followed Joseph of Arimathea to the tomb to see him buried. So all they could do was journey to the tomb. Why is it that people go to stand at gravestones, at gravesites? Because going there somehow brings back to us our memories and the reality of someone we loved. That's why the two Marys were risking their lives to go to the tomb. But actually, it was a big mistake. You see, time and time again, Jesus had told them, yes, I will suffer. Yes, I will be crucified, but on the third day, I will rise again. And it was the third day. But in their minds, they were so dominated by the reality of what their eyes and ears had heard and their mind remembered, that it blotted out God's truth. Jesus Christ is risen today. Hallelujah. And we need to journey with them through the darkness as they head for the tomb, carrying their spices, hoping to be able to properly anoint the body of Jesus for his total dying. And then they think, oh dear, we've got another problem. There's that huge stone across the tomb entrance. How are we going to get in? And time again, although their hearts were in the right place because they loved their Lord, and although they were trying to work things out systematically and logically and planning it, they got it wrong because they forgot that Jesus Christ is risen. And so what a surprise they get when they get to the tomb and see the angel, and the angel says to them, he's not here. See the place where he was lying. He is risen. And go and tell his disciples to head for Galilee because he's going to meet them there. And so off they set. I wonder whether you've had an experience that I've had on some occasions, perhaps when I've been on holiday or even in a large store, that all of a sudden somebody's called my name. And I've thought, I know that voice. And when I've turned round, I've recognised a friend that I haven't seen for some while. And how joyful and delightful it is to spend time with them because of the extra dimension of surprise, the unexpected surprise of meeting someone you love and know well. That's how it was, but 1,000 times stronger for those two women who Jesus meets. And when they meet him, they're filled with joy. And they fall at his feet, they clasp his feet, and they worship him. They pour out their adoration and their love because now they're in touch with their risen Lord. First, they'd heard he was risen. Then they experienced he was risen. Then they responded to his risen reality. And then they went to tell others. What a journey. And as we are overwhelmed by the sense of death and struggle and suffering because of the coronavirus, and most of us now have heard of someone who has the disease, and many of us are coping with the death of dearly loved friends, even family members. As we are overwhelmed with this cloud of coronavirus and all it brings to us, we need to hear again the message: he is risen. God is not thwarted by our big mistakes. These women made big mistakes, but God was not thwarted by them, nor did he reject them because they'd lost touch with the reality of their faith and of God. But I encourage you today to renew your faith, to claim the victory of Christ, that he is risen and risen indeed, and then share it with other people. But before we do that, I invite you to join me for a communion service. So find some bread and some wine, whatever you want to use for that, and turn to the other video where we will meet with Jesus, worship him, and renew our friendship with our risen Lord. Thank you for being with me and sharing the joy that overcomes death and doubt this Easter time.